So first of all, let's discuss what's going on in this area.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and go back. This is a building. Obviously, it looks like a commercial building, and you've got a number of rooms. Those rooms are probably slightly populated. In this case, the customer indicated that there would probably be about 400 clients total in this building. So we're not really talking about a super dense environment. The majority of the clients that are going to be going in here, there's a number of laptops, although most of the workstations in the rooms are all wired connected. So the majority of the wireless in this environment we're finding is going to be tablets, cell phones, and some laptops. Typically, the laptops are going to be utilized when they move into the conference room. So from a design perspective, we're designing primarily for the application of mobile clients. Those mobile clients, again, being mobile phones. They've indicated that there's some challenges with cellular in this area. So they really want to design it around Wi-Fi calling and the ability to do some multimedia in here. So what we want to identify for this is which access point, and everyone's going to, when we talk to SEs and you ask which access point, you ask 100 different SEs, you could get 100 different responses, but they all come back to the same point. We usually pick an access point based on coverage, based on how much we know we can sell, and based on what the customer kind of indicates. Sometimes we pick it based on what our competitors are doing. So from this perspective, one of the things I like to do in defining what the specification is or what the requirement is I usually pick an access point. I'll start with the R650 being a 4x4 on the 5 gigahertz. It's really good density design, but I'll typically, knowing that I'm going to be doing Wi-Fi calling and I'm going to be doing some multimedia, I know I've got to get a little bit of a higher data rate. And getting a little bit of a higher data rate, I need to make sure that I'm not designing just for straight coverage. So I want to design for a coverage model that allows for really good data rates everywhere with really good overlap. So I want to kind of figure out what my RSSI I'm going to be mapping to. And if I'm deciding I want to do about a neg 67. So we're talking, most of the clients are going to be single stream devices. This is a MCS index from the WLAN Pros. You can see I'm designing around the 5 gigahertz, 802.11ac, for example, or VHT. And I'm going to determine that I want to do about a neg 67, probably about a 40 megahertz. So I'm looking at an index of about 4 or better, right? 4 to something better than 4. So when I go back to my access point, I look at the map. Now, these are based on a per chain model, but that's kind of a good target when you want to define what the power out. And again, when you ask 100 different SEs how they designed their RF modeling, they'll give you probably 100 different answers. You'll say, I like to design it based on this power setting, or I like to design it based on that power setting. But power settings are really going to be client independent. When they select an index or they select a throughput that they're going to, a data rate that they are going to connect at, there's a certain power setting that they are bound to by that data rate.
The reason that they like to do that, Kevin, is that older ABG networks didn't derive their data rate necessarily from the modulation and coding schemes. It was just based on signal strength.
They were.
So that was kind of ingrained, and people have been doing this for a long time. I need this signal strength. Well, you're not using ABG anymore. The Wi-Fi we're using today is much more complex, and you have to rely on these modulation and coding schemes for the design because that's what the devices rely on.
So in this scenario, let's take a look at the power settings, and we know we're going something a little bit better than an MCS index 7. We're not really talking 9, we were talking MCS index 4. So it's going to be somewhere between 22 and 16.5 power on a per chain basis. So from a dB perspective.